Hi guys, welcome back to another Impact and Influence series. Today we're joined by Dirk Miller from CoreLogic. Hi Dirk, how are you?
I'm well, Kylie, yourself?
Yeah, great, thank you. So Dirk, your title is Head of Real Estate Solutions with CoreLogic. For our listeners, can you just share, what does that mean?
Yeah, good question. So I look after the entire real estate business for CoreLogic. So our flagship products, RP data. I look after the requirements and where the growth and vision of that particular product is. I don't actually build any products. That's the product managers, but I set the strategy, the vision. Where is CoreLogic going to go, and what does that mean for our customers going forward?
Very interesting. It sounds exciting. So guys, Dirk and I have been having some really interesting conversations over the last couple of months. I've had the privilege of working with Dirk previously, incredibly talented man. And I'd love the conversation around data and the thinking and where we should be going as an industry and where the leakage and holes are. So before we start talking about what you're doing and some questions I've got around, harnessing data and harnessing customer experience, could you just give us a little bit of a backstory or a preamble on your career and how you got to be where you are so everyone understands your skill set?
Yeah, I was really fascinated by the stock market. So I wanted to be an investment banker when I was younger. So I trotted off to uni up at Griffiths Uni at the Gold Coast. I'm originally from Coffs Harbour. Did uni up there. Went through a recruitment process to find a job. It just so happens that the people that needed someone was LJ Hooker Corporate. This was before the acquisition of the current owners. I came down to Sydney from Coffs Harbour. Thought I'd give a strategy analyst or a business analyst role a go. Really enjoyed it, really loved it, really enjoyed the corporate real estate life and understanding more about real estate. I met a lot of different people, including yourself, in that role. Learnt my trade under some really influential people in the real estate market, such as Chris Maud, such as Brian White, such as Kylie Walsh, all these young and exciting people that had a lot to learn, a lot to give. I learnt my trade there, was there for about 6 years. Took a sidestep outside of the industry, joined an Australian startup or a top 200 ASX company called Servcorp. They do managed serviced offices and virtual offices. Once again, stayed there for another 6 years. My time at RP, not RP Data, at LJ Hooker, I was very fascinated in data, always had a great relationship with RP Data. Peter Bromley, who initially employed me at LJ Hooker, was the GM of the sales at CoreLogic, and he gave me a phone call and asked if I wanted to come and join CoreLogic. I jumped at the opportunity. I was brought in to develop a partner product. I was in that role for about 3 months, and now I've got the entire real estate space to play in. And I've been here for about 2 years, and every day I wake up and I'm a kid in a candy store. There's so much opportunity and so many fun things that we can do as an industry. So I'm loving my role at the moment, and I feel I'm just starting in my career.
And I love when you say I get to play every day, because when I worked with you, that's how I felt. You probably got sick of Walsh coming over and asking you for everything all the time, but your way of approaching and looking at data and pulling it apart and looking at opportunities was absolutely exceptional. And no doubt that's why you are where you are at the moment. Dirk, obviously we talk a lot around customer experience and leakage and opportunity. You've got quite an interesting view on that. So just starting basic, where do you think the holes are in the industry and where do you see the opportunities?
Yeah, the consumer experience in itself, we are in the experience economy now. If you look at a real estate transaction, which is inefficient in itself, but we can come back to that later. But largely, the consumer experience, you get these first home buyers, 20 to 30% of the market. They're going to come into the market and take all their life savings, borrow from the bank of mum and dad, borrow from large financial institutions. And it's a very scary and daunting process. They don't know how to structure it. They don't know how to understand their mortgage broker. They don't understand all the ins and outs of a real estate transaction. Now, where I think it's, we're doing a disservice is they go to an open for inspection on the weekend. They meet an agent. They're about to throw down, 700, 800 grand in their first home. Generally, the agent will qualify them as we do and as we're trained as real estate agents. You qualify them, you want to find out two things. The first is, are you going to buy this house or home or unit? And if the answer is no, some of them, not all of them, which is probably a disservice to ourselves, ask them, do you have a property or do you have an asset to sell? And if they answer no both times, you're never going to hear from the agent again. So here you are as, this first home buyer, really excited, but also very scared and nervous, and no one's there to help you. So, I feel as the industry and as the industry has matured, there's downward pressure on GCI, VPAs going through the roof. There's probably an opportunity there to improve that consumer experience. And by improving that consumer experience long term, you're probably going to build a relationship, and you're probably going to solve your lead generation problem, because you're going to have a customer for life. So that's one thing that I got top of my mind about. How can we solve that? How do we help agents get more efficient with their marketing spend to ultimately service those buyers who will turn into sellers long term? Because let's be honest, real estate agents do have a bad name, or some agents give the industry a bad name. I shouldn't generalize and say we all have a bad name. Some particular ones can give us a bad name. So let's break that stigma. And the best way to do that is to really put our best foot forward, service the vendors, because obviously that's how we're getting paid, but also service the buyers, because long term they're going to dip their toes in a number of different transactions: buying the house, getting finance, getting insurance, getting the building pest inspections, etc. So I think there's a significant opportunity to really investigate how we can serve the community better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think, there's the old saying, people will deal with people they like, know, and trust. And depending on where someone is in their business life cycle or their resourcing, sometimes that can be one-to-one, but to scale and increase profit and have more opportunity and more market share, then we do need to look at the automation and harnessing that and seeing how we can leverage technology to increase that customer experience. So obviously that's a space that you're working in, Dirk. Is there anything like, we don't know what we don't know, right? So if we've got an agency and we're listening to this today, or we're a sales agent, what are some of the things within your ecosystem that you think that people should be focusing on more?
Yeah, look, I'd take it from a point of view that you've got three really good assets that you're sitting on as a principal, and that's your database, that's your website and your brand that attracts people, and your people. Okay, so you look at those three things, and where's the piece in the middle that joins everyone? Ultimately, the data that connects everything. So focusing on that data and how you get more value out of it. So if we take consumer experience top and center, consumers want more information. They want information right now. They want to be informed about the whole process. So, I think what has fueled this off-market transaction growth recently has this need to get a relationship, to find out more information, and as a result, agents are finding another way to basically sell a particular property. So your website, it needs to be engaging. Have the most accurate, most up-to-date data on it. Don't just have it as a tool to capture contact details and don't do anything with it. Okay, if you're going to offer a service, we do have a lead generation product, but there are other ones in market. If you're going to catch your information, make sure you get that instant gratification. Make sure it's mobile friendly. Consumers are very much on their phone all the time. They want information straight away. They're quite happy to give their contact details away. But if they do, they're probably going to expect a conversation. They're going to expect a call. So make sure you do call that. Don't just expect that, put your name and address in, and I'll get an appraisal back to you, 3 or 4 days later. That's not good enough. And we know some people in the industry don't even contact them at all. So tightening that up, I'd really focus on that as a principle if I was in the industry, which sort of feeds into your data. So data is key. So you've got property data, and obviously CoreLogic's got a wealth of property data, but you've also got your CRM, you've got your past contacts, you've got your past clients, people you bought and sold to. I'd make sure that you're continually refreshing that, continually matching that against property data, making sure it's up to date. You've probably got past buyers who have purchased from you 5-10 years ago, and we're currently in a boom. We're in unprecedented times in terms of property prices. Reach out to them, have a conversation with them, tell them that the market's moved 5 or 6 times since you last spoke. That constant contact and building that constant relationship. Real estate, it's a dinner time. It's a dinner time conversation. Everyone loves talking about it. So be that person that can be that person of influence. Give them more information, give them recent insights, give them a phone call, give them a text, whatever it is. Make contact with them. But when you're doing that, make sure you're recording it into your CRM. Your CRM is only good if it's got the most up-to-date information. So, don't put it into an Excel spreadsheet. Make sure you put it into a proper system. Products like Air, which is a fantastic solution, you can leverage that to get more out of that information and data once you have clean data in there. So, you can look at other solutions to help with that. And then the final thing is obviously your people. So making sure that they realize that everyone is a potential lead. Okay, everyone is a potential seller, everyone's a potential buyer. The premise is people don't remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. Okay, so if you come through and open for inspection, make sure it's pristine, make sure it's up to scratch, make sure you greet everyone, make sure you make them feel welcome. It's not good enough that you have a conversation with your best friend who's a nosy neighbor. Okay, you've got to talk to everyone that comes in that open for inspection, get their details, but do it softly, because those three things that we're talking about, they all interjoin with each other. And if you have a constant message to provide better service back to your local economy, then long term you're going to win. You're going to build better relationships. You're going to be more authentic, and then as a result of that, your business becomes a pull business rather than trying to push stuff out all the time. People will come to you, and that's what you want to try and get to. That's your sweet spot. Better at your marketing. I know I talked a lot there. Sorry.
No, it's great. And I love that wording, local economy. I've not heard that before. I think it's amazing. But you're right. And I think, guys, if you're listening to this, is people do want access at their own time. They want it at speed. They want transparency, and they want it to be relevant to them. So to your point, Dirk, I think there's so many people out there now that have got that platform on their website, linked through from their social, where people can go and build their own, market assessment on their own property. But then what happens from it? So, how do people nurture that? How do they integrate it back to the CRM? The good old anniversary call that everyone's got set up within their database, and it's, in the first year, and then nothing happens after that. How do you automate that? So obviously the bigger we get, the more market share we've got. If someone in your team doesn't have the time to, pick up the phone to talk in with that automation, is then how do you make sure that the system's doing that for you? And I've been in a number of offices lately, Dirk, where I know your company integrates with CRMs from Prospector through to other areas within the integration, but it's either not turned on, or people don't know about it, or there's no proper onboarding in it for their team. So making sure that people understand what their system can do and the strength of that data and how they talk to each other to improve that overall customer experience is incredibly important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And there's I think you even pointed out to me before that, CoreLogic has that RP Pro application, which is free to all our subscribers. Just being able to get on that before you go into a lounge room and do a listing presentation, just to get the latest numbers, get the latest facts, get anything that's new on the market. Real estate is it's a here now sort of game. You've got to have the most information. You've got to have the most up-to-date information. This app will give that to you. It's free. Just a little soundbite that you can sort of give to these consumers. It builds that authenticity. It helps you build that relationship. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with you on that, Kylie.
It's that credibility, right? So I know a lot of my clients, and I'm amazed every single time I mention it. It's like, what? Oh, we've got that. But I'm like, yeah, see the little thing with the house with the arrow, and it actually talks about the performance over the last 10 years for the area. And that's really helpful for you at open homes, or when you're taking an appraisal call and you're on the fly and they're like, oh, I've never looked at that. So guys, when you download it, don't land the green one. That's the one for the States, I think, isn't it, Dirk? They want the red one, which is the Australian one. But it gives great conversation, as you say, at the dinner table, at a barbecue. When someone says, how's the market? You don't want to be that agent that's going, oh, it's really strong. What you want to be able to say is have an articulate conversation, say, look, up on last year, we're 27% up. We're finding boom, boom, boom. So you want to be able to talk to numbers, because that credibility will breed trust, and that consistency within your team singing out the same hymn book will also help with that trust. And if we can build that trust, then you're more likely to get that repeat referral and come from a point where you're more credible in the marketplace. Dirk, just to finish up, I know it's short and sharp today, and we could talk to you for forever around data and things that you would do. What would you like everyone to lead with today? What's the one thing that you want everyone to take away from this conversation?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think, the data tells a story. okay, but what you put into the story and beyond that. So let's take that example about the, you've downloaded the application and you've got the latest trends and the latest data. Okay, that's sort of where the market's gone. But your IP and what you're going to do is sort of say, well, what this is missing is, there's a recent sale here, there's a recent sale there, and my expectation is that market's going to do that. So take a position, use the data to take a position in the market. That's going to get you probably build that authenticity unless you're going to make a decision to move forward. RP data or core logic, we're not just data anymore. We're sort of moving from the property data into the customer data, giving you that single customer view. So how can we help you, be that, when you talk about that Venn diagram, your customers, your staff, your website and your database, how can you use data or property data or core logic to help match all those particular three things together to get better conversations? We hope that, or what we feel is, if we can give you better data to have better conversations, and you can go out there and push your customer experience and push your brand, and it's just powered by us, that's going to be a great opportunity for you guys to win in the future.
And I think probably on that, powered by us, one of the things that fundamentally changed in the previous company that I was with. So when I was at Di Jones, our conversation changed with you guys around what's in the toolbox that we don't know about. This is our goals for the business. How can you help us? How can you help elevate where we want to go? And that was from recruitment to customer experience to upskilling our team. So I think, guys, if you haven't had a conversation with your core logic partner or sales representative or account manager, whatever the right term is, Dirk, so I don't get in trouble for that, is having a better conversation with them next time they come in. Maybe it's just a conversation with the management team or the right stakeholder in the business about what have you got that we're not harnessing to make sure we improve our people's experience, our customers' experience, and our overall product being your business. How do we get scale? How do we grow? How do we be more profitable? And if you don't know what's in your CRM that integrates with CoreLogic, guys, find out, because that's a very powerful piece of the pie to turn on and upskill your team in. Dirk, thanks so much for your time today. We're really, really grateful for the time that you've given us. And if anyone's got any questions, can they reach out to you?
Of course they can. Yes, on LinkedIn or through my email or phone number. Happy to talk real estate, talk shop. I love it. That's why I'm in the industry. But yeah, by all means, reach out whenever you want.
Yeah, and I think that connectivity is so important in our industry. So Dirk, thanks for that offer, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Kylie. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Bye.